Council has asked Councilman Shadid and I think Councilman Greenwell had both had some discussions about the use tax and what is the use tax and who should be paying for it. And with that, we have Bob Ponkilla from our city treasurer here today to fill us in a little bit about the mysterious use tax.
Good morning. We'd like to start the presentation this morning with a short video.
Let's buy this TV online.
Do we need a 72-inch screen?
Yeah. You better keep the receipt so that you can pay the use tax, you know?
You say something?
No?
Honey, do we have to pay taxes on it?
Yes, you will owe a use tax on that TV you're buying online. But don't take it from me. I'm just the elephant in the room.
The law requires you pay a use tax on certain out-of-state or online purchases for use in Oklahoma. Visit tax.ok.gov for more information.
Peanuts.
Good morning. Bob Ponkilla, City Treasurer. I also have with me this morning Davis Puryear. He's one of our Assistant City Treasurers. The video you just saw is one that was created by the Oklahoma Tax Commission. And what the main character in the video was saying, of course, is that use tax is an elephant in the room, and which is true. I mean, because what that would mean is that it's something that's misunderstood, not fully understood by most folks, and it's also something that folks just aren't really interested in talking about. So we've been asked to just do a short presentation this morning to give you an idea of what use tax is, you know, when does it apply, and in short, how is use tax paid. Basically, use tax is a companion to sales tax. All of us know that if we go into a store here in Oklahoma City, we're going to be required to pay sales tax on our purchases. Well, use tax is very much the same. It's again a companion to sales tax, but it applies to any purchases that are made from out of state. If you make a purchase from out of state, bring those goods into Oklahoma and you use those goods here, then a use tax will apply to that purchase. A lot of times what most folks relate to use tax, of course, is online purchases. And the thing that most folks don't understand is when you make a purchase online, it's not a tax-free purchase. There are statutes in place that require that you pay a tax on that purchase. Basically, use tax is, again, required for any purchases that were made outside of Oklahoma. There are certain exceptions to that rule, meaning if a company has a brick and mortar location, often referred to as a nexus within Oklahoma, they're actually required to collect our taxes on that purchase. We have a sample invoice here of a purchase that was made online. This particular purchase was made from Best Buy. As you and I are aware, we do have several Best Buy locations in Oklahoma City. As a result, Best Buy would be required, even on an online purchase, to collect that sales tax and remit that to the Oklahoma Tax Commission on our behalf. You'll see in the circled version of the invoice here at the bottom that sales tax was paid on this purchase of $16.82.
Bob, can I ask a question about that
sorry.
right now? How do those dollars, how does that $16.82 get to us?
The tax is collected by the seller, and in most cases, they'll go ahead and remit that directly to the Tax Commission. Tax Commission will then divvy that out to each of the cities.
Oklahoma State Tax Commission.
Okay, so Saks Fifth Avenue, New York City store, but has a location in Tulsa.
Right.
And now has one at the Outlet Mall.
Right.
Those taxes are collected.
They would actually have a permit with the Oklahoma Tax Commission because they do have a location in Oklahoma. and they would, because of that, any online purchases would be set up to remit those taxes to Oklahoma City.
Okay. I have also had an example where a retailer that did not have a bricks and mortar location in the state, however, collected tax.
Right. And that's actually my next point.
Okay.
That's a good lead-in. There are certain companies that are online retailers that have voluntarily elected to collect our local taxes. There's about 1,100 companies that have elected to do so. Just Oklahoma City alone, that amounted to about $3.8 million last year. So that would be that situation that you just described. Okay. Now, very similar to sales tax, where, as we're all aware, depending on where you make that purchase, that would be the tax rate that applies. In most situations, for most citizens within Oklahoma City, it would be the 8.375 rate. We also have a table here that shows that the rate in Oklahoma City is 8.375 because the county, Oklahoma County, does not charge a use tax. However, some of the surrounding counties into which Oklahoma City extends do charge a use tax. So if you live in one of those outside counties, then your use tax rate may differ just slightly. So we've talked about what is use tax and when does use tax apply. As we mentioned earlier, if you make a purchase from out of state and sales tax is not charged on that purchase, then use tax is going to be still due by the consumer. So if you make a purchase online, and again, the retailer does not collect sales tax on it, then that ultimate responsibility for paying that use tax would be falls on you as a consumer. Again, we have another sample invoice here. In this particular case, a purchase was made from Keurig, which does not have a location, a nexus in Oklahoma. And you can see at the bottom of this particular invoice that there was no sales tax charged on this purchase. Again, we talked about, in regard to use tax, the majority of this relating to online and catalog purchases. I also want to point out that businesses are also subject to use tax. In the event that they make a purchase from out of state, bring it into Oklahoma, and use those goods here in Oklahoma City, they actually also have to pay use tax. A good example of that would be hospitals. Hospitals regularly will buy some specialized equipment from out of state. They'll bring it into their hospital and have it installed. At that point in time that equipment is installed, that use tax is due by the hospital as a consumer. And we do regularly see businesses like hospitals on a regular basis remitting that use tax directly to the tax commission. So we've talked about it, when it applies, what is use tax. I guess the next question would be, well, how is use tax paid? Again, we've talked about businesses remitting directly to the tax commission. In the case of individuals, most of us are aware that you can pay your use taxes through your Oklahoma state income tax return. We have a return 511 copy here, and you can see on line 20, you're given the opportunity to report your use tax on your purchases. The tax commission has a couple of options for this. If you keep your records throughout the year, you know exactly how many non-tax purchases you made. There's a schedule where you enter this into, and it calculates the amount of use tax that's due. You enter it into this line here. The other option is if you don't retain your records, you're not sure exactly the dollar amount of the purchases you made throughout the year, you're provided an opportunity on another schedule to estimate your use taxes, and again, calculate the use tax amount here. Another option that's fairly recent is one that the tax commission has made available on our website. There's a web page that's available now where you can pay your use taxes pretty much like businesses do on an as they're incurred basis. You can log into this website here. You enter your contact information as the consumer, enter the amount of the purchase that you may have just made online that tax was not charged. And what happens is the website will actually calculate the use tax that's due. You provide your bank information at the bottom of the form, and the tax commission will actually go out and draft your account for that use tax at that point in time.